Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It's Thursday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the USA. It's 1830 Zulu on July 14th, 2022. It's time for the Manufacturer Showcase. And this is a show where we talk to one of our over 160 different manufacturers here at DX Engineering. And today, I'm very pleased to have Ray Novak, N9JA, from Icom America. Hello, Ray.
Hey, Tim, great to be back on the show again. Man, 160 manufacturers. That doesn't include the stuff you guys manufacture. How
Oh,
many how many
we're one.
SKUs?
We're
Oh,
one.
okay. You're one. So how
We're
many
one of
SKUs?
160. How many SKUs? It is over 50,000 SKUs that we have here at DXE.
So what I just heard you say is if you guys don't have it, it probably does not exist.
That's right. And so, Ray, what's going on at Icom? What do you got for us?
Oh man, there's all kinds of things going on. They're keeping me busy, and I mean, this component shortage is a real deal. I've got your purchasing staff contacting me on a weekly basis. When are we going to see 7300s? When are we going to see 7610s? When are we going to see 7851s, 9700s? You name it. We're getting calls all the time. We did just ship out some 7851s, also some 9700s. Those just came in this week. So you guys will be shipping some products soon.
Oh, that is great news, Ray. And what what activities are going on? What are you doing? What do you I know you always have all these balls in the air.
Oh man. Yeah, July traditionally is the slow time of the year for us, or so we thought. Um, Decided to get married in the middle of July, so this weekend's the anniversary. And then on Thursday next week, I start heading towards Oshkosh, Wisconsin for EAA's Air Venture. And while we will have a booth in one of the hangars selling the aviation products, I take my RV up there, set up equipment. Last year, I did not get to operate. I was mainly in the booth in one of the hangars. But this year, the other guys are going to be in the hangars. I'm going to be hanging out at the RV, operating the special event station. Randy K7AGE will be joining me as well as a few other people. So, I mean, we've even got some EAA members and Warbird pilots that will be getting on the air with us as well.
So, what is the special event call sign, Ray?
Well, we wanted to have it as W9WB, but that really just was not available for Whiskey 9 Warbirds. So we're going to be W9W, Whiskey 9 Whiskey. And we politely share it with other groups that use that special event call sign. So if you were to look it up on QRZ right now, scroll down, you'll see photos and information from previous events. We're going to switch over. It was for National Parks on the Air in Wisconsin, I believe, but we're about to switch it over and start posting stuff for this event coming up between the 25th and the 30th.
So, this is a up in Oshkosh. That is a great event. What about future events for Icom America?
Well, I know we're partnering with DXE on support a Bouvet, and
Yes.
it's going to be a different type of support from ICOM standpoint. The operators are taking their own radios, their own particular setup, so it's very familiar with them, and they're looking at going as lightweight as possible. But since they're taking a different adventure, and that's on a sailboat, Adrian and I started discussing about ICOM's new satellite radio, our SAT 100. This portable, and there's also mobile, works off the Iridium satellite system, and it will allow them to have real-time communications from the guys on the ship as well as their pilots in Europe and the United States in a environment that we're accustomed to with our portables. Instead of ground-based repeaters, they're celestial-based repeaters, and it's a real cool system. Instead of it going ground station, satellite, back down to a ground station, over fiber to another ground station, up to a satellite, this is a satellite based mesh network for their backbone. So it'll go up to the satellite, across the satellite network, down to the other operators.
Boy, that is tremendous. So Icom is going to be a big part of the Bouvet expedition. From a communication standpoint, staying in touch with the pilots is very important, right?
It is. It helps them understand what they're sounding like in those regions. It also helps steer them and guide them on areas to listen for. If you're listening for certain countries that are weaker, you can guide your pile up, and that's going to be very helpful for them.
So, Ray, we have a couple of comments here in the chat room. Our friend Marty, NN1C, says, Icom makes awesome radios and that power some of the best stations across the globe. And I have to agree with that. And
I appreciate that, Marty.
Steve says, Ray, if you have a 7610 fall off the truck, let me know. I'm looking here for other Icom comments, and 80 Germany 6 Alpha Delta over in England says, watching on my phone out with my IC 7300. So it's always good to have 80 on. And let's see, Greg, November Charlie 7 Bravo says, hi, Tim and Ray. My QSO total keeps going up on my Icom radios. Love them all. And Greg has been a tremendous blog writer on allbands.com, the DX Engineering blog. And of course, Mark Haynes is on with us, M0DXR.
Yep, Mr. Fantastic.
He is.
And you know what? Greg is recently active, if I recall. He retired a couple of years ago and got bit by the ham bug again.
He did, but you had Mark, M0DXR, at Dayton. How cool was that, Ray?
You couldn't ask for it to get any better.
It is really cool and great to have you on, Mark. And Aaron says, Ray, if I buy a new ID52 from an Icom dealer and have the dealer do the Mars modification, does it void the Icom warranty?
If the radio has an issue that is caused by the Mars modification done by the dealer, that will not be covered in a warranty. But if there's anything else that occurs to a radio that has been Mars modified, no, it does not void the warranty.
Okay, great. And we've got Gino on, KG7POU, and Gino says N7JA is a legend in ham radio. So you're now an official legend, Ray.
N7.
You know, and
okay.
Let's see here. We've got Jimmy, KB8N, loving my 705 and ID52. And our friend Joe, K0NEB, has a 7610, a 7300, a 9700, and great radios. And of course, our friend Mark Brown, N4BCD. We're excited to see both of you at Huntsville in August. Looking forward to that.
Yep, that's always a good show.
Great show. And Mark, thanks for all you do. Your leadership down in Huntsville is really great. And Jeff, Whiskey Delta 8 Juliet Mike, met Ray at Xenia. Love Icom rigs and someday hope to grab a 7851. Boy, the 7851 is just a tremendous radio, right? I can't get over it.
Yeah, you definitely can't. You got quite a few in your collection, don't you?
We do, you know, and we had 3 straight weekends here of activity We had the Mercer County Club for Field Day, and then we hosted K2M for 13 colonies. And I know I sent you some photos from that. And
Yes,
then
sir.
last weekend, we had the IARU uh, contest here where we hosted W1AW Portable 3 and the IC 7851, no failures, no problems, and happy operators. And let's see here. We got some more Icom comments. Scott Robbins is on today, W4 Papa Alpha. Tim Ray, DXE crew, the crew at Vibraplex says hello. We've got two IC 7300s here at the office, one in the Ham Shack station and one in our InRed mic test workstation. So, Ray, two 7300s, that's great.
Well, I think Scott's got a few more down across the water at one of his favorite operating sites.
Yep. You can't have too many Icom radios. And let's see here. We've got Brian says, I've been working on my 70-year-old dad to get his ticket, but he prefers GMRS. Are there any Icom radios suitable for GMRS?
Brian, that's one of those items that we struggle with. We did have some GMRS radios, the F21 GM, and then got away from it. We're dabbling right now in the MURS, MURS, with the V3MR and the V10 MR. Those seem to be very well accepted in the marketplace, but it's not your cheap $50 blister pack pairs. I mean, these are built to mil spec and mil spec tested. They're built to take a pounding and keep working.
And we've got Richard on. He says he loves his 7300 and ID 5100. We've got Eric says, any new product reveals planned for September, Ray?
I was sitting there thinking September's not usually a time when we do, but that is the Tokyo Ham Fair. I don't think there's anything new that's going to be revealed. It will be interesting to see what the latest update on the SHF project as well as the PW2. We showed both of those at Dayton Under Glass. I think they were under glass at Friedrichshafen. So maybe there'll be more official information from Icom.
And OD5 Zulu Fox says, any spare parts for the SM50 microphone?
Unfortunately, there's not. It is a OEM product that we have built for us, but we don't get spare parts for them. So I'm sorry to say that there's not. Now, our service department might be able to scrap up some to fix a mic for you. So check with your local Icom corporate branch.
Okay, and George says this is Oscar Zulu 4 Papa Alpha Tango. He's still using the IC718, Ray. It's working great. And what is your recommendation for the best Heil microphone?
Well, I can hear Bob's voice echoing in my head. Only use an ICM microphone with an Icom radio. I don't always listen to that advice because I do have some Pro 7s. In fact, a bag of Pro 7s right here that I don't even know what elements in these, but these are the ones that we use at EAA because when those warbirds fire up, it gets a little bit noisy.
Yeah, the ICM is always the go-to on the Heil microphones. And Norman says, still love my old 751 on CW, still better than my 756 Pro, but it's always good to have more radios. And let's see, is Icom or any other manufacturer ever going to bring back the analog S meter, or without these ugly giant digital screens? I can't tell the difference here on the digital screen to an analog S meter. Ray. It's just been fabulous.
But Tim, there is an output on the back of your radios
Yes.
that will drive an analog, one of those old school analog needles.
And, and we've got Grace is on Kilo Echo 8 Radio Juliet United. And if you've been watching the show, she was on the last two shows, and she says, "Hi, Tim and Ray. I love my IC 9700 for satellite operating." And she is the guru, Ray.
Yeah, I watched the last one. That was impressive. I wasn't into radios back, at least not ham radios. It was more automotive and car stereos at her age. So,
What else is going on, Ray? What else are you getting into this summer?
uh, really, that's just trying to keep my head above water, dealing with all these product shortages. We've got everything coming by air almost, so we can, when stuff does roll off the production line, it's not taking 3 to 4 months by ship. It's taking a week or so after it gets off the airplane to find somebody local to truck it that last couple of miles. So it's almost like what happens in an emergency. It's not the long distance that we got to worry about. It's that last mile transportation that seems to be the snag.
Yeah, well, those things are pervasive in lots of industries now, and
Yes.
certainly we really appreciate your support of like the D Expeditions and Bouvet, and the fact that you're going to shows and doing lots of things behind the scenes in amateur radio, and you're also talking to a lot of clubs, right?
We're doing a lot of clubs, and I mean, a lot of the things that I was already doing in the amateur side, I've moved it over to aviation as well as the Marine division. We created a website to show our activity in the community. If you were to search with your favorite search engine, Icom in the community, and then throw the word amateur, marine, or aviation, you'll see we're involved with a lot of clubs. We're involved with a lot of regular activities. I mean, field day at 106 degrees in the woods in Texas was not the most fun, but hey, we were out there making cues.
Yep, you're doing the deal. And from Portugal, it's Charlie Tango 7 Alpha Bravo Delta, and he says, "Hello, Tim and Ray. Nice to see you here. Very hot in Portugal. I love my IC 7610, and it's still running at 20% in the temperature bar. This radio has amazing cooling." And it's Case, uh, who was here on Tuesday, and he said Icom is a great manufacturer, and even their old radios are great. I have the IC 7300, and he has an IC 706 Mark II-G. They're still working great for everything that he needs to do. And it was great to have Case and Grace on at the same time. And
Tim, a funny story for you. I remember you telling me the story about finding the house in the property to meet your ham shack needs. You remember that conversation?
I do, right?
Well, Fabiano sent me photos and told me I'm moving into a new house because my ham shack is too small for all my radios. Sends me photos of his ham shack at the new house before he sends any photos of what the rest of the house looks like. So
That's right. That's all that matters.
no matter where you go, what country you're in, a ham fanatic is a ham fanatic.
That's it. And we've got Ed on. He says he has the IC 9700, the ID 51A, the IC 705 for Parks on the Air. But my absolute favorite is his old IC 7600, a true workhorse, proves how good a radio Icom builds. And Omar is on. And here's another comment from Omar. He's got an IC 735, the 7410, the 7610. Any suggestion on how to avoid the hot switching issue? I'm not sure exactly what that is, right?
I've heard some people make comments about a hot switching. The reality is the switching of today's amplifiers are not fast enough to get hammered by the RF. I mean, the switching on the Icom radios are well under 20 milliseconds. In fact, I think the last test report I saw was somewhere around 6 milliseconds switching from RF power, not RF power.
Yeah. So not too bad. We use the TX delay here to make sure that everything works fine and no problems at all. Aaron says DX Engineering and Icom are both by far the leaders in supporting ham radio as a hobby and supporting ham radio clubs and events. Thank you. And we've got Sorbello on here. He says, Ray, excuse me, with the ICR30. He's the ISS with the telescopic antenna. And so the R30, I guess he's very happy with that. DK50NV loves his IC7300. And Paul, W4 Papa Golf Mike, Ray, the 7610 is still on the air every day. And let's see here. So all great comments here today, Ray. Thanks so much for being on. It's always great to get an update from Icom America, and I hope you're enjoying your summer.
So far, so good. Now, I just remembered one other item. We introduced at Dayton 2 new radios, the T10, which is a mil-spec amateur, simple dual band portable, and the V3500. If things go as planned, the V3500 will be shipping this month.
And any release date for the T10?
Right now, it's looking like August timeframe right now.
Okay.
When we were talking about it at Dayton, we were saying late summer.
Okay. Well, that's great. Ray, it's always great to have you on. We're going to have you on again and again and again. Obviously, here at DX Engineering, we love the relationship that we have with Icom America. And thank you so much for being on today.
Well, thank you for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you for everybody for all the kind words in the chat.
And thanks to all of you for viewing. And we'll see you next Tuesday for Tuesdays with Tim and Jeff. We're off tomorrow. It's summertime vacation. So 73, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
73, everybody.